a simple exercise to help you get rid of all of your acting fears at once. That's what we're going to talk about today on this episode of HACC Hollywood with DPG. So guys, I'm going to share a little client story that I think will illustrate this entire concept. I have a client that I was encouraging to do some things that I knew were going to really result in him making some huge industry contacts, give him a ton of confidence, learn about the business, and of course make himself open to all sorts of acting jobs as a result of all the people he was going to meet. And we'd been working together for a couple of months, and he's been making progress, but I would say painfully slow to some extent, meaning he would make attempts, but not many. They would be few and far between. And I started to try and get to the crux of the matter, what exactly it was that I thought might be holding him back. And I gave him an example. I said, look, this stuff isn't hard. You have the capabilities, right? And he said, yeah, probably. And I said, so why do you think you're not doing it? And he said, well, I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Maybe I feel like I'm bragging or something. I don't know. And I said, well, look, you work at a restaurant right now as a waiter, right? He said, yes. And I said, well, don't you think after working there for a while, you know everything there is to know, and that you could pretty much manage the place at this point? With a little practice, you're not going to be perfect. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, so, why haven't you put yourself up for assistant manager or something like that? And he said, well, I don't really see myself as the leadership type. And I said, that's interesting. And I was actually kind of a bit panic stricken, because I'm like, what do I say to that? What do I say when one of my clients says I'm not leadership material? I mean, how am I going to talk him out of that? And I said, well, okay, well, what if there was an emergency and your restaurant manager was unable to come into work? So they need a manager. Somebody's got to be the manager, right? And it actually occurred to me something similar had happened to me in the past, which I will try to remember to share with you. But this is a better example, actually. And I said, okay, so imagine if the restaurant manager couldn't come in, and he said he wanted you to take over that day. Don't you think you could do it if you had to? And he said, yeah, I guess I could. And then I said, well, after you did it, it probably wouldn't seem as bad as you thought it did, right? Like, you would find that it's just a job like any other, that you don't necessarily have to be a special caliber to do certain jobs. It's just a question of experience and knowing more than the other people, and maybe a little bit of motivation. But obviously we've all worked with people who aren't really necessarily doing a great job of motivating us. They're just kind of there. They work their way up, and they don't have any really great ambitions. They just wound up where they are. Anyway, he said, yeah, you're probably right. If I was actually the manager for a day, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I said, right. And after a while, you would just be doing that job the same way you're doing the waiter job. And you would just be like, yeah, whatever, no big deal, right? And he said, yeah, I guess so. And I said, okay, so all this stuff you're doing right now that you're not doing that much of, I mean, part of the reason you're not doing it is probably a little bit of fear, right? You're not sure what you're going to say when you speak to people. You don't know what to write to them and all that. And he said, yeah, there's definitely, a component of that. And so I said, well, when you do it, it's not that bad, right? And he said, yeah, no, it's really not that bad. And I said, so most of the things that are stopping you in life, whether you ever decided to become an actor or not, you don't do because of some preconceived notion of how something's going to be, right? It's that fear of the unknown. You get comfortable in the position you're in, even though before you had the position you're in, you were probably scared of that position. Like, if I had to be a waiter, I'd be terrified. I'd be like, I'm going to forget all the orders, and I'm going to miscount the money, and maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, but I'm sure it wouldn't be as bad as I, am imagining right now. And I would just get used to it. I would learn the count. I would get better at remembering numbers and all that kind of, or remembering orders and all that kind of thing. So all I want you guys to learn from this is this very simple lesson to go through. When you know what it is you need to do, who you need to meet, who you need to reach out to, who you need to get involved with, just you're gonna think, okay, I would like to reach out to Steven Spielberg. Now that's, you know, a crazy example, but it's just somebody that comes to mind, and you might think that's ridiculous because they would never respond to me. And you know what's funny is because nobody actually reaches out to these people, that's why they actually often do respond. I have a client who actually just got a personal assistant position with somebody, and the specific reason she gave her for offering her the job was, out of all the people she had lectured to at universities and colleges, she was the first one to actually follow up by email and communicate with her. Unbelievable, because everybody gets it in their head that something is going to happen that's bad and they don't want to face that. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to decide what it is you think you need to do. What is the most direct path between you and the people that can hire you for acting jobs? And I want you to think about reaching out to them, not to go give me an acting job, but figure out how you can serve them. It doesn't matter how small or big it is, it's irrelevant. This is really just a life skill. And once you learn it, you'll never forget it, and you'll apply it to everything. And your life, you will just find that life is easy peasy like a breeze. So ask yourself, okay, what is the thing that I have to do? You know, call up Steven Spielberg. How does that make you feel? It's scary. Why? Oh, he's probably going to say no. He's probably, you know, going to maybe ridicule me, humiliate me. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is that people imagine is going to happen. They think it's going to be somehow deleterious to their career, right? They think that Steven Spielberg's going to blacklist them for life or something, as if he can be bothered blacklisting you, especially because he's not even going to remember your name if it goes as badly as you're assuming. So you think of the things that are going to go wrong, and then you go, okay, now actually imagine doing it. Actually imagine doing it, because this is the part where most people get it wrong. They don't actually imagine doing it, they just imagine they skip the part of actually doing it, and they just get to the part of the negative. So imagine actually doing it. You pick up the phone, what's going to happen? You know, hi, is Steven Spielberg there? 1 minute, please. This is if, you know, you get through. Chances are you're not going to get through, but if you got through, what would you say? Hi, my name is David Patrick Green, Mr. Spielberg, and I really think I can help you out. I've got some skills that I think you'd find useful in the office. I'm very good on a computer. I'm excellent on the phone. I can talk to people from all walks of life, make everyone feel comfortable and put them at ease with my sense of humor. Of course, I'm dashingly and you know, incomparably handsome, which you will know when we meet face to face. And I would love to just come in for a few minutes, maybe talk about what I could do for you. I could love to introduce myself, and we'll take it from there. And you know, that's what I would say. Like, that's what I'm imagining. Hopefully you would say something to that effect, something charming and fun, nothing too crazy serious, and definitely about what you can do for them. And he's gonna say what? Let's just think about it. It's like, either that sounds pretty good, how's Tuesday at 9, or he's gonna go, hey, you know what, thanks for the offer, but we don't really need anybody right now, and we don't really operate that way, so, you know, all the best to you, Mr. Green. And I'm gonna go, okay, thanks so much for your time. Is there anyone else you could think of that I could help out, maybe in your organization, or anybody else you feel like I should call up and bother like you? And you know, he'll say either yes or no or whatever, and then I'll just say, okay, well, you know, thank you very much and have a wonderful day. And so that's what I would imagine would happen, right? Like, so that's realistic, that's believable. Him blacklisting me in the industry is not believable. There's no reason to think he would go to any effort to ruin my life because he doesn't care about me. That's the ultimate, right? He doesn't care about me because I really don't exist to him at this point. And so if you're realistic about it, if you actually just think, if somebody called me up, even if they were a goofball and they offered to help me out, what am I gonna say? No thanks. You know, see you later. The thing with, you don't really want to irritate people you think are unhinged, because they're gonna, you know, you're gonna be worried that they're gonna do something to you. So most people are very polite, even if they're saying no to you. Okay, so when you walk yourself through it, you realize that it's not that big of a deal, and that it's probably going to be a somewhat enjoyable conversation, especially if you decide to make it enjoyable. Like, that's really what you have to do, is just decide, I'm going to enjoy myself no matter what happens. This is great. I'm talking to Steven Spielberg, or I'm talking to Steven Spielberg's assistant, or whoever you're talking to. You might as well enjoy it. Enjoy it all. And if he says no, enjoy that too. Say, wow, Steven Spielberg said no to me. He said something to me. He spoke to me. That's more than most people will ever hear in their entire lives. So, guys, that is how you get over all of the fears that you have about what it is you need to do to make the most direct forays towards producers and directors and people that you eventually would like to do some kind of work for, whether it's acting or working in their coffee shop. It doesn't matter. The way to get over the fear of something is to literally go through the actual scenario, and you're going to realize that you cannot even imagine a scenario that is so bad that it talks you out of doing the thing. In fact, if anything, it's going to talk you into doing it. It's going to go, the worst thing I can come up with, Steven Spielberg saying to me, is we're not interested in what you have to offer. That's all I can think of. Right, guys? Okay, so that is how you get over all your fears, and that is how, once you've done that, you will go straight to the top, because you will learn that not only can you call up anyone and approach them, but you need to, because that's the difference between the people who just accept mediocrity, who never want to ruffle the feathers, you know, who want to live by some sort of false sense of merit is how you get on in life. There is something to merit. There is some merit to the theory of merit, but not a whole lot, because what's actually more important is relationships. We will tolerate all sorts of poor performance and bad behavior from people who we know, like, and trust, and we will tolerate almost nothing from people who are complete strangers. And in fact, not only will we not tolerate anything from strangers, we won't let strangers approach us for the simple fact that they are strangers. So guys, the message is you need to get to know people, and you need to get to know them any way you can come up with, whatever, not the most easy way, whatever's the most direct way. And then what else do? You follow up like a mofo. You follow up until you hear, okay, so that's F-U until you hear F-U. Got it? Good. Like, share, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, go to teespring.com/HACC Hollywood and get yourself a HACC Hollywood t-shirt, and just enjoy the heck out of life. And look, how can you possibly enjoy the heck out of life if you're not doing what you want to be doing? So what is stopping you? Just pick up the phone right now and call someone. I don't care if you have a plan, because you're going to do it and you're going to realize nothing bad happens even when you have no plan whatsoever. So imagine how good it could go if you had a plan, and how good it could go if you followed up and you have something really well thought through that you're going to offer somebody. You know you're going to kill it out there, guys. So go for it. I'll talk to you soon.